Hey.
Take a seat.
Thanks.
You look so much better than you did last week.
Thank you.
You look so refreshed and well dressed.
Thanks. I tried this week.
That's great.
Yeah.
How's work been going for you?
It's been really stressful. I started the week out with a huge fire, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the week. I worked 18 hours one day, like overnight, essentially. Started 2:30 on Monday, worked till 9 a.m. Tuesday, then came back in around 3 o'clock on Tuesday,
Oh, wow.
and then worked from 3 o'clock till 5 a.m. Thursday. So I'm a little thrown off. Yeah, it was pretty stressful. It didn't really give me an opportunity to work on the things I said I would work on, whereas I didn't feel like I could.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And what do you think the cause of that stress was?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily the story or the fire or the danger. It's part of it's like it's this constant feeling that I need to be doing something better every single time. There's a constant.
So you feel like you have the need to prove yourself in some ways?
I guess. I mean, I don't know if it's prove myself or to just show what I can do. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's prove myself.
And why do you think that is? Do you feel inadequate in some ways?
No, I don't know if I feel inadequate. I guess I just don't want to let anyone down.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in the position I'm at, there's like a certain expectation of what I can do.
Mm.
People always say that some of the things I do are really good, and I always just feel like I don't want to let anyone down and make a mistake. Like, for me, the pressure of making a mistake is what I think really stresses me out the most, and letting people down, saying, why did you mess this up, or, forgot to do this, forgot to do that. Like, I just feel like now I'm at this point where there's so much just expected that I can do, and it's hard to wrap my head around sometimes. And so I think sometimes I let this feeling of like almost insecurity kind of take over.
Yeah. So you feel like you're worried about letting people down. It's completely understandable. I'm sure that we all have that fear at some point, but from the things that you've been telling me recently, I mean, you're doing some incredible work, and you've been put in the position to be able to train people. You're doing things in the service of others that is really commendable.
It's just, I just still don't feel like I should be training people, and that's really hard to be put. As myself, I was never really properly trained. I was kind of thrown into the deep end, and it was kind of sink or swim, and I managed to figure it out and learn along the way. But so I didn't really get that formal training process that I think a lot of people got, and it's just hard for me. It's hard to see myself that now, like, it's hard to split how I see myself, like, as someone who's still learning, and the fact that others see me as someone who has learned and is professional. And it's sometimes, I think, part of it is very hard for me to admit to myself that I'm not, this isn't really my first rodeo. Like, I've done this a lot, and I've done this for 2.5 years, and that I've earned my place.
So you're proud of yourself in some ways?
In some ways, I think I should be. I mean, I
think
know
you
I've
should
earned.
too.
I know I've earned a lot, and I've done a lot, and I've proven myself in a lot of ways. But I still feel that urge to be better.
Yeah, and there's no problem with that. If you have that urge to be better and you have that humility to know that you have so much still to learn, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's the whole point, is we want to reach our highest potential, right?
Yeah.
And you've come so far and you've learned so much, but you still have so much to learn.
Yeah, and that's why I feel the way I do when it comes to training others. It's like, I know I have still things to learn. Like, I'm always learning. And I understand that the job can really be, I'm always learning, but
there are things that you've accomplished and you can look back on and be proud of, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know that you are capable
Yeah.
because you've been put in charge of training people. that shows that your supervisors trust you to do that because they know that you have a skill that's very valuable in the field.
Yeah, I think
Right?
so. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So what ways have you been coping with this stress that you've been experiencing lately?
Well, I mean, when these long days happen, I do use Adderall to kind of keep me focused because there is no lunch break. There's no relaxing office time. You're in a car and you're in a fire and you're doing live shots every few minutes and you're constantly moving with the action. You're constantly like checking your gear, charging your gear. Any small mistake can cost you in that situation. Like, oh, you left the car running in the fire. Well, the car, might suck in an ember when you start the engine.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many elements when you're out there to think about constantly. It reminds me when I was in like college and they gave you a key and you only had so many lockouts. So I would like literally always like pat myself down, checking for my keys in random situations, like at work, or in the middle of a class. Like, it's like a constant like stress response that I don't want to mess up because it could cost me. Well, it could make a live shot look bad, but the biggest thing is that the car could catch fire. I mean, that's the biggest threat, and it's like.
So you're saying that during your day you don't have a lot of free time to be able to spend time for yourself, relaxing or eating good food?
Well, yeah, the job itself kind of keeps me from really relaxing. I mean, if something happens, and you are essentially, your job is to see it, so you have to go.
Is there any point in your day before you go to work where you can set aside time to be able to do something for you, such as maybe exercising or doing one of your hobbies or something like that, something that you enjoy?
I thought of, I do have the time. It's just really hard, I guess, to kind of execute it because by the time I get home, it's like past 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, let's say on a normal day. Obviously, those days it was a completely different situation. But on a normal day, it's already like 1 o'clock in the morning,
Okay, but
maybe 2 o'clock.
What about in the mornings, though?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It takes me. I don't sleep that great. It takes me forever to fall asleep, and by the time I fall asleep, I wake up at like it's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I need to be out the door at 1, and it's hard.
Well, do you think the Adderall could be the cause of you not being able to fall asleep when you eventually get home? Do you think that may contribute to it?
I mean, it makes sense in my head, but it's often a choice of, do I put myself before my job or my job before myself? And I think more oftentimes than not, I put my job ahead of myself because I feel like I'm constantly, like I almost feel like I have to sacrifice for it all the time.
So I think this week moving forward, maybe finding ways to put yourself before your job. Just like we discussed last week, maybe setting aside time in the morning to be able to maybe go for a walk. That's something that we discussed that you found might be helpful. Is that something you think that you could do?
Yeah, I definitely think I can do it.
I sense a little bit of resistance from you. Is that something you really want to do?
To be honest, like, no. Like, when I wake up in the mornings, it's like, I don't know. I just don't have that drive. It's not the right response, but it kind of is the honest response, is that I don't have the drive to do that. It's just when I wake up, to be honest, I feel like shit. So it's like I don't really want to go for a walk. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to work out, even though I know that is something I need to do, and it's a priority for me in the next few years just to get my health back. But it's like I just don't have that drive anymore.
Okay. So this week moving forward, let's brainstorm some ways that you can cope with this stress. Maybe fun things for you to do, so that way when you get to work, you feel more relaxed and able to tackle the challenges that you're confronted with. Great.
Okay.
During the session, we met Oliver, who's a photojournalist at a local news station. In this session, we applied Roger's person-centered theory and used skills such as authentic engagement, active listening, unconditional positive regard, and reflecting feelings and content.